But this is Emily, and Emily's family's here today. It's so good to see everybody over there. We love you guys. And Emily, I want you to share a little bit about what God's doing in your life and your testimony this morning.
Hi, I'm Emily. So this summer, it's been a lot. It's been pretty rough for me. I've been going through a lot with volleyball and family stuff. So if you don't know, last year I tried to go to camp, and I did end up going to camp, but it took a lot to get there. And this year was kind of the same, just different circumstances. So when I was 12, my grandmother passed away while I was at a sleepaway camp. And I never went to a sleepaway camp after that. I stopped going to church, and my faith became very just small. She was my best friend, and I just didn't believe that that could happen. And so this church camp last year was the first sleepaway camp that I went back to. And then this year, before I went, I was having trouble deciding whether I was going to go because of volleyball, because I was transferring to a new school, and I wanted to make sure the coach knew that I was going to be there, that I was going to be indebted to the team, that volleyball was my number one priority. But with that, I wouldn't have been able to go to camp. So that was a really big decision for me, because volleyball has always been my top priority. And this time I had to choose between my faith and volleyball, which are two things I care about very deeply. And I talked to a few people and got mixed amount of answers. And Miss Jenny called me and the week before and was like, I don't want to persuade you. I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I just want you to talk to the Lord and tell me what he says, and you decide for yourself what you want to do. Nobody's going to judge you if you do go. Nobody's going to judge you if you don't. So I decided I was going to go, which was a really big deal for me. And then my dad ended up being in the hospital. My dad is...
He's here today.
He is here. My dad is my rock. He's somebody that I can't even fathom to lose. So the fact that that happened and it was so serious and it was with his heart really scared me. And as soon as I found out he was in the hospital, I wanted to drop everything. I didn't want to go anywhere. I just wanted to stay home. I wanted to be with him. And my parents told me, no, you need to keep going to volleyball. You need to go to work. So I did. And so when we realized that he was going to be in the hospital a lot longer than what we thought, I told my mom, I was like, I can't do this, because all my brain is reverting back to is when I went to the sleepaway camp when I was 12, and when I came back, my grandmother died. And I'm like, because the last thing I want is to go to camp and I come back and he's gone. And that whole week I was just thinking, I was crying, because I'm like that's my dad. I don't want to lose my dad. And I prayed to God that just to heal him and to make him better. And so I decided that I was going to, I wouldn't say take the risk, but that I was going to go to church camp, because I had enough faith that God was going to take care of my dad. And so I go, and it was rough a few nights. I was having a rough time sleeping, and I wasn't feeling well, and all I was worried about was my dad. But the more I was there, the more I started to realize that I can't keep doing it by myself. I can't keep all these feelings that I'm having and keep expecting different results and not changing something. And there was this really powerful message that we spoke about the second night, and he asked us, if somebody that knew you, like a school friend, but didn't know you personally, didn't know you went to church, if you were to ask them, would you think I'm a Christian? Do I follow in the walk of God? What would they say? And I had to be honest with myself. I had to actually think about it. I didn't want to just say yes. And I had to tell myself truthfully, no. Emotionally, yes, I have a very big heart, people know that, so they would probably say yes. But through my actions and what I do with myself, they would probably say no. So for that took a lot for me to realize. I also said that in our small group with Miss Jenny. And I think just now, instead of trying to jump into something that I don't know if I'm completely ready for, I'm asking the right questions. I'm going through it with people, with all the youth and Miss Jenny, and with God as well, and just not doing it alone anymore.
It's so good. You're not alone. And what I saw this year is just growing leaps and bounds spiritually. So Emily, thank you for sharing that with us. And